to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd. Oh, wow. If that isn't the most boring and chaotic Philadelphia Union game of 2025, then I don't know what is. Your Philadelphia Union somehow, some way, find a way to come out of Houston last night with a point as they draw against the Dynamo 1-1. And I don't know. I mean, Jose Nunez, who's not joining me on tonight's show, we did a emergency episode on Across the Pitch last night, which it didn't look like Mike and Jose were going to do a match recap right after the game. And because of how much controversy was in this game, Jose hit me up and he said, you know what? Let's go live. Let's give the fans, the listeners, what they want. Let's do a live show. And so we did a live show on Twitter only. So I know there are some people who don't have Twitter. And so hopefully, I don't know, I haven't talked to Mike yet. Hopefully he uploads last night's live reaction straight after the game onto the Across the Pitch RSS feed, so you guys can go ahead and pay attention to that. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and recap, or I'm going to go ahead and recap to last night's game between Houston Dynamo and Philadelphia Union. We did get some news, some breaking news, I guess you can say, this afternoon from MLS, from the Philadelphia Union. We'll talk about that here in a second. We'll talk about CJ Olney being loaned out. I know that happened almost a week ago now, and haven't found time to talk about it on the show. So we'll talk about that. And then obviously we'll talk about last night's game between Philadelphia and Houston Dynamo. We'll talk about the controversy of Jack McGlynn's celebration. We'll talk about the referee's performance last night. Referee Mendoza, a terrible performance last night from him. We'll talk about the Union rotating 7 players last night, and then Blunder of the Week, which I see Valerie Yardy talking about Blunder of the Week because you guys know on YouTube, if you read the description, I go ahead and help you guys out with that description on YouTube. So you guys know what we're going to talk about here on the show. But like I said, should be a good show, and no Jose Nunez tonight. Going to need your guys' help as always leading the show. But with that said, let's get straight into the news. All right, and we'll go ahead and start off with CJ Olney. Like I mentioned, this was announced almost a week ago now that the Philadelphia Union have loaned CJ Olney out to USL Championship side Lexington SC. Former Philadelphia Union players Marcus Epps and Corey Burke are at Lexington. CJ has already played 2 appearances for the USL Championship side this season. Both of them coming off the bench, playing 30 minutes for the club. Yes, the Union are going to hope that CJ starts playing regularly, getting starts, because that's the whole reason why they loaned him out. But as you guys can see live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, the little ticker below, in 13 appearances this season for Union 2, CJ only had 2 goals, 2 assists in 966 minutes. And, you know, there's a lot of players on this Union 2 team where I think that they're way too good to be playing MLS Next Pro, that they need to go out and play at a higher competition. And that's exactly what the Union are doing with CJ Olney. I think David Vasquez is probably a player that would do well playing at a higher level than MLS Next Pro. Kevin Sullivan's too good for MLS Next Pro. Andrew Rick's too good for MLS Next Pro. I know we had talked about a few episodes ago that maybe MLS Next Pro is just too slow for a Sal Olivas. But regardless, there are multiple players down with Union 2 that are probably too good for MLS Next Pro. And we saw it with Frankie Westfield last year. Had a fantastic season. Him and CJ Olney, both of them had fantastic seasons with Union 2. Both of them broke into the best 11. Both of them were huge parts why Philadelphia Union 2 made the MLS Next Pro Cup, unfortunately falling to North Texas, as we all know. But yeah, regardless, there's a lot of talent. And this club, the Philadelphia Union, they always talk about furthering players' development. And this is a promising step to CJ Olney's development. Remember, CJ Olney is only 18 years old, turns 19 in December. And I thought, or I was hoping that CJ would get more opportunities with the first team this year. But as everybody knows, I mean, It's a lot of players that Bradley Carnell uses. It's a pretty deep roster, and so when you look at a CJ Olney, who, like I said, too good for MLS Next Pro, it was always going to be difficult for him to break in, get meaningful minutes with the first team this season, and so you want him to continue to progress, and you go ahead and loan him out to Lexington and USL. In 63 appearances for Union 2, CJ only has 13 goals, 21 assists in just over 5,000 minutes. I mean, he's been killing it, and you always want to see these players taking the next step, and hopefully CJ gets opportunities with Lexington, can make regular starts, and hopefully come back to Philadelphia next season and just be a lot better player than what he is currently. But then I mentioned the breaking news that we got right before we decided to come live, do the show. That is Kai Wagner named to the 2025 MLS All-Star roster. And if you guys have been listening the last couple of weeks, I've been complaining about it. I think I complained about it last episode with Jose Nunez, or maybe it was the one previously where we mentioned Messi. And I feel like there's always an episode where we're mentioning Messi, talking about Jordi Alba getting the left back spot. And so it's good to see Nico Estevez, the coach for the MLS All-Stars, select Kai Wagner to be a part of that squad. Kai Wagner is replacing David DaCosta of Portland Timbers, who is injured. And so it should have never got this far with Kai Wagner, if we're being honest. You guys know it. You guys watched the Union. I've talked about it so many times, so I don't want to go ahead and rehash stuff. But Kai Wagner, he's been the most consistent Philadelphia Union player, I feel like, the last 5 years, maybe even longer. He's made 194 appearances for the club, 189 starts since arriving in 2019. Has a club record, 60 assists, 7 goals, and he won MLS Best 11 honors in 2022. And yeah, I mean, you could have put so many players for the Union in that MLS Best in 2022. Everybody had career seasons back then, and Kai Wagner is a big part of why the Union have conceded the league's fewest amount of goals with 23. Continues to create chances for the Union. Came off the bench last night and created 5 chances. I mean, this guy is phenomenal going for the Union. It shouldn't have taken an injury for him to get on the roster, but it is nice to see Kai Wagner finally named to this team. He'll join teammates Todd Baribo and Jacob Glesnes. The All-Star Game, don't forget, it's coming up this Wednesday, July 23rd. We do have a little bit more about the All-Star Game coming up towards the end of the show, but Jillian says, as he should be in regards to Kai Wagner being selected. Valerie says, commentators last night were saying Kai should be in the All-Star squad. Yes, they were. They mentioned it multiple times, if I'm not mistaken, Valerie, singing his praises. Cole says, when I saw the post from the Union, I was wondering why they were posting the All-Stars twice, the night of selection being first, and then I remembered. Yeah, exactly. And so nice to see Kai Wagner nominated, selected for this team, and finally they get it right. And hopefully Kai gets a chance to continue to ball out and show what he's all about, because we know Kai's been one of the best Philadelphia Union players since he's been here. I would argue he's been the best left back in MLS since 2019. There's an argument to be made, I think. If I was to ask you guys the last 5 years, the last 6 years, to come up with a list of the top 20 best MLS players through those years, I think Kai Wagner has a really, really good chance of being in the top 20 of best MLS players within the last 5-6 years, because he's been that consistent and he's always producing offensively. So to see Kai Wagner nominated for the 2025 MLS All-Stars, great honor for him. And it shouldn't have taken a player getting injured. But we are moving through the show. 10 minutes, we get done the news, and we're off talking about Houston Dynamo versus Philadelphia Union. As we all know, that game ended 1-1 with Alejandro Bedoya opening the scoring in the 15th minute, followed by Jack McGlynn scoring a late equalizer in the first half in this game in the 10th minute of stoppage time. Scores from the penalty spot. And we'll talk about Jack McGlynn, his celebration, in a little bit. You guys, I'm sure on Twitter and Facebook, I'm sure you're going to have comments. There were so many comments I saw on Twitter last night about the celebration. So I don't want to talk about the celebration yet. We'll have a separate topic where we talk about that. But yeah, the whole penalty situation that led to it, it's dumb from Jesús Bueno, if we're being honest, right? It's a free kick right outside the 18-yard box. Union have 5 players inside the wall. I showed this in my goals breakdown video, which I haven't released yet. I'll release it after the podcast. But you see the Union line, 5 players up. Frankie Westfield starts on the post. Angie Rick says, go off the post. And so Frankie's a little bit confused where he should be on this play. And right before Jack McGlynn goes to take this free kick, he starts to backpedal. Frankie Westfield really didn't have anything to do on this play. But I bring all that up to say that there just seemed to be confusion on the play by the Union, how they wanted to defend this free kick situation. We know how deadly Jack McGlynn is on dead ball situations. Him and Kai Wagner created a ton of chances last year for the Union. We all know Jack McGlynn, I'll probably talk about it later on in the episode, doesn't really fit in this team. But for Jesús Bueno to go ahead and just extend his elbow out, it's a clear handball. I'm not debating that, but it's just such a dumb play. There's no reason for Jesus to go ahead and stick that elbow out. To me, it's like, are you saying you don't trust Andrew Rick to make this save? I don't know. It's just dumb from Jesús Bueno there. Regardless, it's penalty given to Houston, and Jack McGlynn, really, really good penalty kick taker. He does his typical stutter step penalty, sends Andrew Rick the opposite way, and ties the game up. Like I said, 10 minutes into stoppage time in the first half. Alejandro Bedoya, his goal. And what I love about this is, do you guys, and I'm being kind of serious, but I'm also like joking. Do you guys think there's a possibility for every single Union player to score a goal this season? Because Alejandro Bedoya becomes the 17th different Union player to score in MLS this year. The Union have played 24 games this year. There's 11 more games to be played, 10 more games to be played. I don't know. The season's ending soon. It's so crazy. It feels like it was just winter time, and here we are flying through the summertime, and before we know it, it'll be decision day and playoffs will be starting up. But Alejandro Bedoya becomes the 17th different Union player to score a goal this season. The Union lead MLS with 17 different goal scorers, and it's a testament to Bradley Carnell trusting these players, giving players opportunities. And what I love about this team is, like, yeah, we know Ty Baribo's been big for this club, 14 goals for them, but they are not just relying on Ty. They're relying on other players. When a Baribo is not scoring like he didn't last night, when a Damiani, when an Uwe is not scoring, other players step up. We talked about this a few weeks ago, where that's been a big part of the Union's success. Players constantly stepping up when it matters most. Happens last night with Alejandro Bedoya. It's a beautiful goal by the Union. It's a throw-in on the right-hand side. Bizo goes into Jacob Glesnes, which I'm not even sure Houston was expecting Jacob Glesnes to be the one crossing the ball into the back post, and Griffin Dorsey, the right back for Houston, makes a mess of it there. Chests it down. I don't know if he's trying to chest it down to Jonathan Bond, the goalkeeper, or what, but credit to Alejandro Bedoya, right, for keeping the pressure on, for pouncing on that loose ball, that mistake by Dorsey, and there's nothing Bond can do. As soon as Dorsey chests it down, loses the ball, it's over for him. And that's just a grit, a willingness from Bedoya to be on top of that. The Union only had 3 players inside the 18-yard box when Glesnes crosses it in. And really, it shouldn't have been that dangerous. But again, it's a big mistake by Griffin Dorsey at the back. It's pressured by Alejandro Bedoya not giving up on the play. And I feel like, again, that's been key to this team. They don't give up. They keep fighting. And I was talking to Kyle Olney before I started the show, and he had called me up, and he's like, I think if this is last year's team, I think this is a game they lose last year. And I agree with that. I really do agree with that, where, again, I'll mention it again, and I'll probably mention this game until the day I die, just because I was there. But watching the Union blow a 3-1 lead in Chicago last year, lose 4-3, yeah, last night's game could have been a Chicago Fire game if this was last year's team. But this team has the belief, the trust from Bradley Carnell. They continue to go out and take advantage of their opportunities. I have a clip lined up here. We'll play in the next 5-10 minutes where Bradley Carnell is talking about keeping these guys motivated, giving them opportunities, and just having his full trust and belief in this team. But Alejandro Bedoya still has a role to play on this team. Comes up big with that goal. See you guys commenting, and I missed some of these comments, so I'll go ahead and look at them. Cole says to my point about do you guys think every single Philadelphia Union player is going to score a goal? He says, no, Dono won't. Uh, he says, joking, depends on who you count as everyone. Do you young homegrowns who barely play count? Yeah, that's a good point, Cole. That's a good point. Do we think Sal Livas will get many more opportunities? Do we think Eddie Davis will get many more opportunities? Neil Peart probably won't get an opportunity. Will David Vasquez get any more opportunities? It's a good question, Cole. It's a really good question. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. I know I brought up the question, but should we include the young homegrowns that barely get any chances in that? Valerie says, I'm curious about what other team has this many goal scorers. Last time I checked, which was a couple weeks ago, Valerie, Vancouver was up there. I haven't checked in a couple weeks, so I'll have to go back and check at that. Jillian Almany chimes in here, says, funny thing is Union 2 has 16 different goal scorers this season, which I see Jillian and her husband, Kyle Almany, did a phenomenal job covering Union 2. Malik Javapovic has been killing it for Union 2, continues to score. And I was talking to somebody about that. I believe Malik's 15 years old. Correct me on that, Jillian, if you want. But I don't know. If he keeps going at this rate, I think Malik's definitely going to get opportunities next year with the first team. This year, maybe not, but next year, I do think so. I really, really do think if Malik keeps going at the way that he's progressing, yeah, there is an opportunity for him to play for the first team. She corrects me, Jillian, and says 16. I knew he was young. Thought he was 15, so he's not at the age of Kevin. 16, yeah, phenomenal player. Let's see. Hakuna says, I don't want to talk about this game last night, or I'm going to rip a new one with that ref last night. I mean, look at the thumbnail. Look what the name of the episode is. You know what's happening. It's exactly what we're going to talk about. Says, sorry, I just dropped in here. Yeah, it's all good. Stay for the rest of the show. This is a safe place. We're going to vent. We're going to complain about the referee. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for that. Don't you worry, Hakuna. But yeah, set pieces, 15 games, 15 set piece goals on the season for the Union. They've scored 3 straight games now with a set piece. Bedoya, 17th different goal scorer. Yeah, it's just you love to see the grit, the willingness, and let's see who will be the next Union player to score a goal. I mean, what we should have done, honestly, guys, is said who's going to score first, Marcus Anderson or Chris Donovan, and I feel so bad, right? Chris Donovan continuing to catch strays, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, here's one for you guys. Who scores first between Olivier Bizo, Ben Bender, or Chris Donovan? Out of those 3 players, who do you guys think is going to score? So, I mean, we just need a goal from Donovan, Bender, Bizo, Raffanello. And do we include Kevin in this list? He's definitely played more than Sal, David, and Eddie Davis. So, yeah, I would say we include Kevin in that list, but I'll let you guys make that decision. So, if we're just keeping those 4 guys, then, yeah, 21 different goal scorers. Is it possible? Potentially. You guys say, Cole says Bizo scoring. Valerie says Bizo scoring as well. Maybe it happens against Colorado Rapids with Nathan Harriel and Frankie Westfield both being suspended for that game. Nathan Harriel picks up his 5th yellow card of the season, suspended because of yellow card accumulation. Frankie Westfield picks up a dumb red card, gets fouled by Lawrence Anali, the attacker for Houston. Referee blows in the Union's favor, and then Anali comes in to Frankie Westfield's face and is talking to him, and I don't know what was said. Who knows what was said, but obviously something upset Frankie Westfield, and so Frankie goes up to Anali and headbutts him, gets a red card, and yeah, Frankie's got to be better under that pressure. Again, you guys are coming in. Jillian says Kevin. Hakuna says Kevin. Domesticated Hoagie says just everyone before Donovan. Cole says if Kevin counts, I'll take him first. Valerie says right. Todd Father only added Kevin after you, and I voted Cole. I don't know. You guys changing it? You guys are gonna say Kevin? So we're keeping Kevin in there. Cole definitely says he's taking Cavan first if I'm including Cavan, and I'm definitely including Cavan. So let's go ahead and see. Maybe everybody in here changes the Cavan, which man, I don't want to bring this up. We're gonna go back to about the last game. It's so annoying because Kevin Sullivan should have had a chance to score in the game against Montreal. The Union break 3v1 on the counterattack. Kevin's leading the charge, plays it to Chris Donovan, and Chris makes a mirror of it. It's a bad touch. Plays Daniel John Jock. Should have played Kevin Sullivan, and maybe Kevin could have been in for an opportunity to score, but it's so frustrating for me. It's so frustrating for me. Jillian says Kevin has 5 goals with Union 2. So Eric comes in and says, joining late, but 100% Frankie needs to keep his cool on that red cool opportunity. Cole says, no, Todd, he didn't play it to Dono. I thought Donovan got the pass. Did he not? I'll have to go back and watch that. Because Kevin was leading the way on the left-hand side of the field. And then I thought the ball wound up going to Chris Donovan. That was his dribble he was running onto. Oh, so Chris Donovan takes Kevin Sullivan's dribble. I think even in my goals breakdown video, I think I said it was a pass by Kevin Sullivan. So I completely missed that. But you got to feel for Kevin Sullivan there, right? It's a big opportunity. Tired legs for Montreal. Kevin does all the hard work. It's a lot of green grass in front of him, and doesn't get the opportunity to shoot that ball. But regardless, we got to this point because everybody's saying Kevin Sullivan is going to be the next Union player to score that hasn't scored this season. Now, let's go ahead. And since we're talking about players rotating and all that stuff, the Union, they rotate 7 players last night from the team that defeated Montreal on Wednesday night. And the only players that kept their positions from last night's game and Wednesday's game were Jacob Glesnes. You had Bruno Damiani keeping his starting spot in the game. You also had Nathan Harriel keeping his starting spot and Jovan Lukic. Everybody else was subbed in. So you had Andrew Rick in goal, Olivier Bizer replacing Macania, Frankie Westfield replaced Kai Wagner, Jesus Bueno replaced Stanley John Jock, Bedoya replaced Indiana Vasilev, Raffanello replaced Quinn Sullivan, and Mikael Uhr replaced Ty Baribo. And this was the second time this season that the Union have started 4 homegrowns in the same match, which ties the most, like I just mentioned, for the season with Andrew Rick, Jeremy Raffanello, Nathan Harriel, and Frankie Westfield. And yeah, I don't think the Union played terrible in the first half. I know Kyle and Jillian Almany talked to Kai Wagner. They went down to Houston. They talked to Kai after the game. Kai didn't believe that the Union had a great first half, said that they lost a lot of balls. The midfield wasn't great. Paraphrasing. Go ahead, and I'm sure Kyle and Jillian will put the quotes, put the audio in their article. I know they posted it on Twitter and maybe Instagram. I haven't checked that yet. But regardless, Kai didn't think the Union played great in the first half. I have a different opinion. I think the Union were the better team in the first half against Houston Dynamo. The one thing I would say, though, is the set pieces weren't good from Jeremy Raffanello or Jesus Bueno. You saw a big difference in the second half once Kai Wagner came in. But the Union, I think, kept Houston at bay. Houston really didn't create any meaningful chances, I thought, in the first half. I thought the Union defended well. I think there was moments where Houston tried to take advantage of the Union's outside backs and Nathan Harriel playing as a left back, playing as a center back on the same side as Frankie Westfield, who played as a left back. But yeah, for the most part, I thought the Union actually held their own in the first half. And again, unfortunate that they gave up that penalty to Jack McGlynn. Jesus Bueno has the ball hit his elbow on the free kick. But yeah, I thought that in the first half, those guys, they played well. Cole says the attack is miles better with him on the field. Cole also says, can we talk about Quinn only getting in because of an head injury? Yeah, we're definitely talking about that. I'll bring that up. Can we talk about the headbutt immediate red card? Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that again. Domesticated Hoagie. I mean, it's a dumb challenge. I mean, why make that challenge if you're Frankie Westfield? Now you put the Union in a position where now they're down to one right back again. And I had said this last night on Across the Pitch. If I'm the Union, I'm wrapping Olivier Bizo up in bubble wrap, making sure that he is as healthy as can be for the game this upcoming Saturday against Colorado Rapids. But it's a dumb challenge there by Frankie Westfield. Bradley Carnell said after the game that, yeah, they're keeping that name in-house with Frankie. They already spoke to him, and hopefully they're going to go ahead and not have that issue anymore. I would imagine was the conversation Frankie and Bradley had. Yeah, it's a game where emotions are running high. A lot of it because of the referee, but again, we'll talk about the referee here in a second. But that's pretty much everything I have on the headbutt situation. You guys can continue to talk about it on the chat if you want. But Bradley Carnell was asked after the game about substituting all these players. And Bradley seemed a little annoyed from the question. And I think he was pretty annoyed because of what he had just witnessed on the field with a play that should have been a penalty for the Union, if we're being honest. So many stoppages in this game. I mean, it was a horrible game from the referee. And so Bradley Carnell talks about the depth and just everything like that.
I have no idea that that's flexing depth. I mean, like I just mentioned earlier, we've built confidence throughout the group. We've built competition throughout the group, and we believe in the whole group. And I think we've shown that on display with, like I said earlier, how many times have we rotated against St. Louis, against multiple teams so far? We've played different lineups, and, we've kept teams guessing. And everyone's come through so far. And if I don't make this change or don't make these changes, then guys are going to lose hope in training. Then they don't give the maximum effort. But everyone knows if they train hard, then they'll get to play as well, and I think that's kind of the bargain or the sort of deal that we have with each other, that, if somebody needs a change, if somebody needs a rest, if we have, 46 points in the bank and, we go away to Houston, which is a tough trip, and we have some All-Stars going away next week as well. So, I don't see why not we should give confidence to the group.
Yeah, so Bradley Carnell didn't like, I guess, the phrasing of the question there, flexing of the depth. And I think the thing for me with that quote that sticks out the most is Carnell says, if I don't make this change or these changes, then guys are going to lose hope in training and they won't give maximum effort. And to Carnell's credit, he has done a good job changing up the lineup for keeping teams guessing. The one game that sticks out to me, he mentions it there, the game against St. Louis. I believe there was 10 changes in that game, and a lot of it was because of international duty, and I think the Union maybe had an injury or two back in that game against St. Louis. Jan Glavinovic scores a goal, the game-winning goal, and the 1-0 win against St. Louis City. But, yeah, I mean, keeping these guys motivated, giving them hope, and having them continuing to give you maximum effort when you tell them, look, you're going to have an opportunity to play. I'm not going to be afraid to rotate this squad. If you're training hard, you are going to get the chance to play. And I do like that mindset. And it's a little bit different than what we saw with Jim Curtin, right? Because you guys knew it over the years that we could, game by game, tell you what the exact lineup's going to be. That's not really been the case with Bradley Carnell. I've seen some comments on social media where people, and maybe they're joking, where they were saying Bradley Carnell doesn't really know his best 11. But I think I would disagree with that. I think Bradley Carnell, I mean, he says it there, that the whole reason why he rotates the squad, why he gives different chances, is to keep the hoop up for these players in training. So these players will give maximum effort. And so when you're keeping these guys motivated by giving them belief and hope that they're going to have opportunities, game opportunities, then it's just going to make the overall team better. And again, I don't think the Union really played that poorly in the first half. Again, I know Kai Wagner disagrees with that, but I think the Union were fine in the first half. John chimes in, says, did Jim Curtin ask that question? It would be. That would be a Jim Curtin question. He would definitely not agree with Bradley Carnell's approach with rotating, that is for sure, John. No, I believe it was Matt DeGeorge of Delco Times who asked that question to Bradley Carnell. But yeah, it was nice to see this team be rotated, and Bradley Carnell did quickly change things in the second half. You saw 3 changes at halftime, and the Union did look even better in the second half. You had Kai Wagner come on, play 32 minutes, created 5 chances, went 5 for 5 on his crosses completed. Bruno Damiani had a ton of headers in the second half, and only one of them were on target. Unfortunate, honestly, because it's great service by Kai Wagner. He just couldn't get their shots on target. Jesús Bueno had a chance with a header in the second half towards the end of the game, and he can't put his effort on target. And when we talk about the referee, we'll talk about it towards the end of the show because it does lead into Blunder of the Week. I don't even know what the point I was about to make. Ty Ribeiro, Jesús Bueno, both of them in a position to score across. I don't even know the point I was about to make. I was reading a comment. But regardless, yeah, I mean, I don't think the Union were horrible in this game. I think that, yeah, definitely unfortunate not to get the penalty late on in this game. And maybe they could have walked away with all 3 points. But let's not forget, too, that Houston had opportunities. Griffin Dorsey in the 75th minute, he hits the crossbar with a header. Then Artur, 13th minute of stoppage time, I believe it was, hits the post with a long-range strike. And so maybe Houston feels a little bit hard done, that they feel like they could have came away with all 3 points because they hit the crossbar on the post. But yeah, regardless, I think maybe that chance doesn't come. The Artur chance, maybe it doesn't come if the penalty is awarded to the Union. And there is no guarantee, right, that the Union would have converted that penalty, but it's a dumb decision not to give the penalty again. Don't want to spend too much time talking about that because we'll talk about it towards the end of the show. But speaking of penalties, Jack McGlynn, we all know, he scores his penalty kick for Houston Dynamo. He celebrates by kissing the Houston Dynamo badge. And this, oh my gosh, this caused so much controversy on social media. And I'm not even going to talk about my opinions on that whole issue yet. I'm going to let you guys hear from Jack McGlynn after the game. He was asked about this 3 times, I believe, during his press conference. One, he came out and mentioned it in his opening statement, and then he was asked twice more during Houston's portion of the press conference. And this is what Jack McGlynn had to say on the celebration.
I know everyone's talking about the celebration, but just want to clear that up. It was a little joke I had with my teammates before they scored and did my celebration, so I couldn't let that slide, so I celebrated. Yeah, I saw him do the celebration. He's a good friend of mine, so I love everyone over there. I have a lot of respect for them, so it's nothing against the club that I celebrated. It was just a little joke with all the guys there. Obviously, I have a lot of love for everything Philly did for me. It's kind of the club that raised me, gave me a chance to become a pro. So I love that club. I love all the people there. So, yeah, kissing the badge is nothing against them. Trust me. I love everything there, and I love all the fans too because I know they're all talking about it. I saw that, but yeah, I love them. But yeah, I think it was just kind of showing the Dynamo they've done so much for me so far. They rewarded me with a new deal. They're trusting in me a lot. So it's kind of showing them that I'm happy to be here. And yeah, like I said, a little bit of a joke with the guys from Philly.
And so he's talking about this picture. This is a credit to Alejandro Ramirez. He took the picture of Bedoya, Frankie Westfield, Nathan Harriel, Jeremy Raffanello, Jacob Glesnes. They're all doing Jack McGlynn's signature celebration where he's putting the mask on his face. This is right after Bedoya scores the goal. And so Jack McGlynn obviously saw it. He says it in his comments. And so he felt like getting one back. And maybe some people are going to say, well, it's a poor taste that he decides to celebrate by kissing the badge. It's completely different kissing the badge and doing a celebration of what Jack McGlynn does. And I get that. But for me, you got to take Jack McGlynn's word for it, right? He meant no malice. It's no love lost between him and his teammates. He loves those guys. And you had saw after the game, Nathan Harriel and Jack McGlynn, they exchanged jerseys. There was a lot of Union players going up to Jack McGlynn after the game, just speaking to him. And so I think it is kind of poor that Jack McGlynn knew coming into this press conference that he needed to address this, that he said he saw it already on social media that Philly fans were complaining about him kissing the badge. And yeah, he did it as a joke because Bedoya went to go and do his celebration. His teammates want to go ahead and do his celebration. So why not have some fun with it and kiss the badge? But Jack McGlynn did say something I think that maybe gets lost. And he talked about showing honor to Houston, giving him a new contract because on July 7th, and it's so funny, I mentioned it a couple episodes ago where, yeah, Jack McGlynn's a U22. I didn't think he would sign a new deal with Houston just because I know he wants to go to Europe. But as soon as I said that, Jack McGlynn signs a contract extension with Houston Dynamo through 2028 with a club option for 2029. He'll still occupy a U22 initiative slot through 2028. And yeah, I mean, credit to Houston for taking care of Jack. He should have been on higher wages. He deserved the contract that he got in Houston. I do think that the Union probably should have made him a U22 in Philadelphia. They decided not to. They trade him to Houston. And a lot of people had issues with the celebration, kissing the badge, and then he turns around, shows the last name on his jersey. I'm fine with that. But before I even heard these comments on the Houston side of the press conference, I was reminded of Jack McGlynn's comments to goal.com. And I'll leave all the links to all the clips that I'm playing tonight, the article I'm about to mention. I'll leave that in the show description so you guys can go ahead and read this yourself. But Jack McGlynn opened up about the trade with goal.com that went down between Philadelphia Union and Houston. And Jack McGlynn came out and said, nobody from Philly even talked to me. They didn't even have the decency to give me a reason. I was with my girlfriend and my dad called me and told me I was moving and it wasn't Europe. He said, you're going to an MLS team, and they wouldn't even tell us where until it was all done. They do everything right all the way through while I was there. It was great, but it just feels like I should have been treated with a bit more respect on my way out. Then Jack McGlynn said that he felt a little bit slighted. He said the communication with me, the respect they showed me, it felt like there was none at all. It was just disrespectful in the way they handled it. And I'm happy that it worked out because I'm playing well in Houston, but I really wish I could have left on better terms. And so Jack McGlynn says this to goal.com way prior to this game. And so you could tell Jack McGlynn's upset in his own words with the way that everything went down in Philadelphia. And so I took that celebration not at a knock to his teammates, not to a knock to the Union organization as a whole, not as a knock to the fans. I took it as a knock to the front office, how the way that they handled the trade, because I remembered these quotes from goal.com. And yeah, just think about Daniel Gazdag wasn't happy with the way that his exit from the Union went. He wanted a new deal, and Ernst Tenner wasn't willing to give him the money that he wanted. And so he winds up getting traded to Columbus Crew. Alejandro Bedoya, remember that? Going back and forth with the media, does a interview with The Athletic. Didn't look like Bedoya was going to come back, and now he's got 1-year deals the last couple of seasons. But it didn't look like Bedoya was coming back. Harris Medunian at the end of the 2019 season said that Ernst Tenner wouldn't even talk to him. And Harris knew at that moment that he was out in Philadelphia. And so there's been multiple players, multiple examples under Ernst Tenner's leadership as the sporting director where things get a little dicey when players want new contracts, when players are at the end of the contract. And I understand it, right? Because it's a business. I do think that there should be respect with the way that communication is perceived. Now, again, this is Jack McGlynn's side of the story. I'm sure the Union have their side of the story as well, with McGlynn, with Gazdag, with Harris, with Bedoya, with other players I'm sure I can name too, but those are the four that pop off on the top of my head. But yeah, I have no issue personally with Jack McGlynn celebrating, with him kissing the badge. And I just don't really understand why there was just such a big blow up on social media because of this. Valerie says, no big deal, Jack. Hakuna says, I blame both Jack and the Union front office. Cole says, friendly banter. Michael says, kissing the badge was out of pocket for me. Not all the fans are going to get the banter. Valerie says, Jack also gestured with both thumbs pointing to the pitch, meaning he's here now. Jillian Almany says they were having fun with each other, way too much being made of it. John says he's a Houston player. I don't get it. Jose Nunez checking in. What's up, Todd? Father, what's up, Jose? Valerie says, agreed, it's not a big deal the way Jack celebrated. It might have been a big deal had he kissed the badge while flaunting it in the direction of Union players or coaches. He faced the Houston fans. Yeah. So again, I don't understand why fans on social media made this to be as big of a deal as they made it. Because you even saw after the game, I think it was Bedoya and McGlynn going back and forth, just having banter on Instagram. All love between those guys. And you heard Jack McGlynn's comment. He loves his teammates here. He loved his time here in Philadelphia. And so why not take Jack McGlynn's words for it? Why not take the words from his teammates on social media? Everybody's just having fun. And I think sometimes people just get way too in the bushes of some things that are just meant as a joke. Cole says, I think it was emotions of the moment from fans. The game was hectic. And it was hectic. So I have nothing else I want to add about Jack McGlynn because I do want to talk about the hectic part of the game, which is the thumbnail, which is the title of tonight's show. Watch out. You might get carded by Rosendo Mendoza, which is right. I mean, you guys might get carded. Watch out because the amount of fouls that were called last night, the amount of stoppages in that game, I might get this video pulled down, right, from pro referees calling out Mendoza. I mean, that was a horrible referee performance. You guys see it there on the ticker. 84 stoppages. So that doesn't just include fouls. Yes, it includes corner kicks, offsides, throw-ins. But of those 84 stoppages, 44 of those were fouls. Mendoza, he averages 28.5 fouls per game. And 44 fouls were called in this game between Philadelphia Union and Houston Dynamo. And we all know who got called for the most fouls in this game. There is no debate about that. You guys didn't even have to watch a game, and you guys would have said that Philadelphia would have got called by Mendoza more than Houston. 25 fouls committed by the Union, 19 committed by Houston. 84 stoppages. That is ridiculous. How can you have an even flow to the game when the play is stopping 84 times? Yes, I know the referee can't do anything about corner kicks, throw-ins, offsides, stuff like that. But 84 times is a lot. 44 fouls called in this game is a lot when he averaged 28.5 fouls. 44 fouls. 7 yellow cards, 1 red card in this game. Averages 4.9 yellow cards per game. Gives out 7 in this game. 4 of those for the Union, 3 for Houston. So many soft fouls in this game. So many soft fouls. And the whole play, and I've said this before on the podcast, and I said this last night on Twitter. I'm not one to blame referees. I think when fans, when coaches, when players blame referees, I think it's poor. I think it's lazy. Take accountability. Yes, the Union had opportunities last night. They didn't finish their chances. Bruno Damiani, we don't have to talk about that anymore. But the referee does absolutely play a factor into this game. The penalty he awards, Damiani was fouled by Pablo Ortiz. That was clear. He was 100% foul. Mendoza, no question about it, points to the penalty spot. But then gets told by VAR, hey, go have a look at this. There's a foul on the buildup. And how you say Nathan Harriel fouls Bartlow when Harriel's jumping up for the ball first. Bartlow jumps into Harriel and you call the foul on Nathan Harriel? Makes zero sense to me. What is Nathan Harriel supposed to do there? He's making a play on the ball. He's going up before Bartlow. And as soon as Bartlow jumps up, he hits his elbow. How is that a foul on Nathan Harriel? Please, somebody explain that to me. It makes zero sense. This was only looked at for 30 seconds, which is what you want to see with VAR. You want to see them spend as little amount of time as possible when they're reviewing penalties and potential fouls that turn into red cards. The issue I have with VAR is when it starts getting into a minute and a half, 2 minutes plus, because then it's not clear and obvious. And it was a while because don't forget the referee said foul outside the 18-yard box, Jeremy Raffanello on Dwayne Holmes. And then he gets told by VAR, hey, go have a look at this. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You cannot be serious right now. Like, it was so clear and obvious that Raffanello got a foot on the ball. And to Mendoza's credit, he admits that it's not a penalty. But not only is it not a penalty, it's not a foul, which it wasn't, because Raffanello won the ball cleanly off of Holmes. Him giving the penalty to Jack McGlynn, yes, clear and obvious handball, no issue with that. But there were so many soft fouls in this game that the whole flow of the game got killed because somebody wanted to be the main character. And I hate that. I absolutely hate when the referees make it all about them. And that's exactly what happened with Mendoza. Jose says, get a soundbite from his pro ref video, LOL. Yeah, when that's released, absolutely, Jose. I do have a soundbite for Blunder of the Week lined up a little bit later in the video. And I'll leave a link to the whole video in the show description because I'm not playing a 4-minute video for you guys. You guys will all tune out. But it was ridiculous. Michael says that was the most unsettling game I've seen in a long time. No rhyme to it at all. Ridiculous edit time, which reminded me, by the way, of the World Cup in Qatar, where you had 10 minutes of added time in the first half, 13 minutes in the second half. Ridiculous amount of added time. Cole says, I'm excited for inside of our review video. Yes, so am I. John says, truthfully, that's on VAR for having Mendoza go to the penalty, go to VAR and, yeah, having a look at the monitor. I agree. It is on VAR for sending him to the monitor. But at the end of the day, it's Mendoza who's responsible for making that decision. And we'll see later on in a video that I was made aware of before we decided to come live, do the podcast. But at the end of the day, it's Mendoza's call, and I think he gets it wrong. I think he gets it 100% wrong on it being a foul by Nathan Harriel on Bartlow. Valerie says, yeah, not good. Michael says, Nate was obviously supposed to remove his arms before that header. Hakuna says, I really want to see that now. I'll play that video here in a second. Jose Nunez says, the match was certainly not the organized chaos that Carnell pushes for. Such a shame that this is all we Preston fans will remember this game for. Absolutely. John says, players also lay in the box and don't get up, hoping for a VAR decision. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it was a mess. It was an absolute mess of a performance by Rosendo Mendoza as the center referee. And so Bradley Carnell was asked about the amount of stoppages, killing the game, and then he takes it into talking about the foul by Nathan Harriel on Bartlow.
Yeah, terrible. I'm not sure, when teams play a certain way and, it's on the border and we use our body in certain ways, it cannot be a foul every single time. It really can't. And even the penalty call that gets called back on Nate. Nate jumps 2 seconds earlier, and it's a foul. We create the foul, but Nate jumps unopposed, and all of a sudden some player runs into Nate, and that's a foul. I mean, wow. I don't have the answers for that.
Yeah, Bradley Carnell definitely crashing out last night, which I don't blame him. I really don't blame him, and I think because he talked about that incident so early in his press conference, I don't think he was really in the mood to talk about much. And can you blame him? I can't. And so, yeah, Bradley obviously upset with 84 stoppages in this game, 44 of those being fouls, absolutely kills the flow of this game. And we saw so many Union players wind up getting just checked. Damiani and Bartlow having a back and forth all night long. Mikau Ur and Bartlow having a back and forth all night long. Jesús Bueno was pretty banged up one of the night. And it looked like one point he couldn't even continue. And I think he was asking for a substitution, and he had to stay out there because Union used all 5 substitutions. Michael says Damiani was broken down by the end of the game, could barely walk. He was getting taken out way too much. And I do think the weather, the heat played a factor into it. I do think that's why we saw a rotation. I think that is why we saw Mikal Uwe not go longer than he did in this game, because the weather definitely played a factor. Hakuna says, hell, if Bradley gets fined for that comment, let's make a GoFundMe. And Bradley Carnell said he didn't want to talk about it anymore because he knew if he did that he probably would get fined. So hopefully he doesn't get fined for that comment. Cole says, hopefully everyone recovers well. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, they have a week away until they have to play Colorado Rapids, which, by the way, the Rapids did not play this weekend. They last played on Wednesday against Seattle Sounders, which was a crazy game. Rapids down 3-0 in Seattle. They come back, tie the game 3-3. Yes, 2 of those goals were penalty kicks, but credit to Colorado for having the fight and the belief to continue on and find 3 goals to go ahead and tie the game up. I do want to go back to your comment earlier, Cole, where you said, can we talk about Quinn only getting in because of a head injury? And that one doesn't make sense to me, honestly. Why you don't bring Quinn Sullivan off the bench into this game earlier? I don't know. I don't know. And the substitutions, for all who forgot what they were, people who didn't watch the game, it was Makanya coming in, Dalen John-Jock, Ty Baribo coming in at halftime, and then you bring in Kai Wagner for Bizo, and then Indiana Vasilev for Alejandro Bedoya in the 73rd minute. Yeah, I have no issue taking off Bedoya. It's hot. Bedoya gave his all in this game, but I would have brought in Quinn Sullivan instead of Indiana Vasilev. Why Carnell went with Indy instead of Quinn, I'm not really sure. And we only see Quinn because of the concussion substitution for Jeremy Raffanello. Hopefully Jeremy's fine. Hopefully we get an update during the week and say that he's not in a concussion protocol, because concussions aren't fun. I've suffered a lot of those playing soccer, and they really mess with you. And so I know Jose and I last night talked about it on Across the Pitch, where Raffanello was cleared, he comes back on, and then he gets substituted out. And yeah, you never want to see that. It's like, who dropped the ball here, where he's obviously coming out because he has a concussion. So why was he allowed onto the field, back on the field to begin with? Not really sure. But regardless, yeah, I don't agree with that substitution either, Cole. I think Quinn should have been one of the 5 players coming off the bench, not the 6th player coming off the bench because of a concussion injury. Makes 0 sense to me. Cole says Houston coach Ben Olsen complained just as much about his penalty that was taken away. Yeah, and I think he was asking journalists in the room what the explanation was. Again, I'll leave a link in the show description for all who wants to go ahead and check out Houston's press conference with Ben Olsen and Jack McGlynn. And Jillian says, that's twice now that we've been to an away game where we are trying not to get Bradley Carnell fined at the presser. Yeah. Maybe Bradley's going to tell you guys to stop showing up to away games, Jillian. Too much controversy every time you guys go. Michael says, just me. I like seeing Rafa more than Indy. He has a bit more chance creation. Yeah, I do think that Raffanello does offer a bit more chance creation, or a little bit more chance creation than Indiana Vasilev. So yeah, hopefully it's not too serious for Raffanello. But that's pretty much everything I want to say about the referee, because we're going to go ahead and continue talking about Rosendo Mendoza, because Blunder of the Week. And my goodness, my goodness. When I saw this, and it was announced a couple days ago by pro referees that Rosendo Mendoza will be the head referee at the MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX game on July 23rd. When I saw this was announced, my goodness, I didn't see it 2 days ago when they announced it. I saw it today. But I'm like, are you kidding me? After his performance last night. But then I started seeing Chicago Fire fans commenting about his horrible performance. And so they start linking video clips of what happens back on May 25th between New York City and Chicago Fire, where Mendoza was the head referee in that game. And so that clip's about 4 minutes long. I broke it down to 1:46. But this was a penalty decision that Mendoza definitely had main character symptoms during this game as well.
No, not the back of the leg. He does get the ball, but then he does get part of the leg.
Okay, but he gets to the ball first, Rosendo.
It doesn't matter. It's a regular challenge, Jorge. It doesn't matter. He goes over it and onto the leg.
He gets the ball first.
Okay.
And the other player puts his foot in the way.
Estoy marcando el penal porque hace contacto con la pierna.
See that? He's going for the ball. That's 50-50 right there. That's 50-50 right there.
That's 50-50 right there.
His ball, his foot goes down to the ground.
We went down. Yeah, for me, this is... No, it's para mí no es penal. No. Rosendo, I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'm going to recommend a review for no PK. Okay? Because you're going to see. Okay? We're going to clean the APP while we're at it. All right? Okay, Rosendo, here we go. We're going to show you the play, 50%. This is when it starts. Okay, go back. Back. Stop it right there. Stop it before that. Okay. Antes, yeah, before. Okay, but look, Rosendo. Okay, listen to me, Rosendo. He gets the ball clearly. Now we're going to play 50%. Go ahead. See? His foot is down. It's not like he comes in through the leg, back of the leg. You know what I mean? Boom, right there.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I am that close, and I'm telling you, the studs get the back right there, right where it's orange. I'm right there. I'm sticking with the decision of...
Okay, I'm telling you, the studs do not get this guy, but you're sticking with your decision, that's fine. But for us, he gets the ball first. Okay?
No, I agree with that. From this angle, I cannot tell what's different from what I saw.
Okay, so you want a different angle, Rosendo? I'm telling you, this guy's not getting him with the studs. He plants the foot on the ground after he gets the ball.
What are the angles?
Okay, we're going to show you this one right here. Boom.
Yeah.
See?
Bring it down. Bring it back.
Yeah. He doesn't get him with the studs.
Low end zone.
Yeah, we put it.
Yeah.
Yep,
I'm going to stick with penalty, Jorge.
Okay.
Okay.
That's your call.
He's going to stick with a penalty. When VAR is telling him, Jorge Gonzalez, by the way, that's the Jorge he's referring to. He was on VAR during this match. He says, this is not a penalty. This is not a penalty. And prior to this, Mendoza comes and says to Jack Elliott and Gonzalez, I worked my ass off to get to the vantage point to see this play. And you see it. You guys watch it on YouTube. It is clear that the defender for Chicago Fire got the ball first, did not challenge with spikes, and yet Mendoza does not want to listen to what VAR is telling him. He is so confident in his decision on the field when you have all the evidence in the world that is a clear non-penalty decision. You have both the VAR and assistant VAR telling you, no penalty. We don't advise you to go to VAR. And yet you still go to VAR. You have a look at it and you don't care what VAR shows you. You're 100% confident in your abilities that, yep, that's a penalty. I don't need to see any angle. I don't care what you guys tell me. I'm arguing with VAR. You guys are wrong. I'm right. That is a penalty. This guy is insane. And so this is who pro referees selected for the 2025 All-Star Game. A guy that has main characters symptoms. We see what happens last night in the Houston-Philadelphia game. You guys just saw what happened almost 2 months ago between New York City and Chicago Fire. This is who's going to be the head referee for the All-Star Game.
Yeah, not good.
No, not good at all. What a joke. And I was joking with some friends. Yeah, don't be surprised, right? If we see a couple yellow cards, maybe we see a red card or two in the All-Star Game, a game that's just for fun. But Mendoza, he's going to take his job way too serious. He's going to give yellow cards. He's going to give red cards. He's going to call a lot of fouls. What are we doing? Like, honestly. Hakuna says Mendoza is the Angel Hernandez of pro refs. Spot on. Michael says, I remember that game between New York City and Chicago. Hakuna says, WTF, he just as bad as Angel Hernandez. Wow, the arrogance. Michael says, Valerie says, wow. Philly River says, that clip was nuts. Michael says, everyone is telling him no, and he didn't want to hear any of it. Hakuna says, if he was reffing that game against Chicago in August, I'll make a sign of his face with Angel Hernandez's face as similarities. Be hilarious. Valerie says, remember his name. Yeah, absolutely. And I always say, if you don't know the referee's name, that's a good thing. Because when you know the referee's name, you know there's going to be controversy. You know there's going to be bad calls. And now nobody here will ever forget the name of the referee in last night's game, Rosendo Mendoza. It's going to be public enemy number one now in Philadelphia. John says it's amazing that he overturned the free kick for us because it was almost the same. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Cole says, by the way, 2 red cards and 7 yellow cards in that game. Thank you for looking that up. 5 yellow cards, he corrects himself. 2 red cards, yeah. And both of them, if I'm not mistaken, were to Chicago Fire. Brian Gutierrez, I think, got a red card in the first half in this game. And then later on in the second half, Chicago get another red card. Unbelievable. When VAR is telling you that there is clear evidence, we advise you not to go to VAR, to change the call on the field. And you're all arguing with your teammates, with your employees, saying, you're wrong, I'm right. I worked my ass off to get into the position to see this play clear as day. I do not care what the evidence shows. I mean, talk about gaslighting. Oh, my God. This guy's horrible. This guy is horrible. So, yeah, I'm glad we can all finally agree on a blunder of the week for this week's episode, and had a lot of fun, right? Had a lot of fun talking about that. I hope you guys, during this week, I hope you guys don't run into Mendoza, because he'll probably give you guys a yellow card, a red card. Stay away from him, which, by the way, too, I saw some people saying they found his LinkedIn. Apparently, he graduated from the University of Houston. And so I saw some Union fans are trying to say, oh, there's controversy. He has ties to Houston. That's why he screwed the Union. I don't really buy into that. But, yeah, don't let Mendoza come to Philadelphia anymore, because my goodness. Can you guys imagine, talking about hypotheticals, can you guys imagine if one of the Union players get hurt in the All-Star game because this guy makes a bad call or something like that? Let's say that he allows, tensions to fly high in the game between MLS and Liga MX, and somebody goes in with a studge challenge and injures one of the Union players. Then Philly fans are really going to hate the referee. So, yeah, I have no confidence in his refereeing abilities. I have no confidence that we're going to get a clean, fun, non-controversial All-Star game on Wednesday. But yeah, this is what you get sometimes with pro referees. And yeah, again, I appreciate you guys commenting. I'm glad you guys love Blunder of the Week, because I love that too. And I'm thankful for the Chicago Fire fans for showing that link and being able to go and find this video on YouTube and now show you guys that. And again, you guys, if you want to watch the 4 minutes of this video, I'll leave a link in the show description. I think it actually already is on YouTube. So after you guys get done with this, check that out, and then check out the goals breakdown video, which should be coming out in the next 30 minutes. But if you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow @FreeKickPod, wherever you get your podcasts, The Free Kick. Check out the YouTube channel live every single podcast, youtube.com/FreeKickPod. You can also check out the goals breakdown videos on YouTube. And then if you guys want to check out my writing, goals breakdown video, and podcast all in one place, go check out thefreekick.substack.com. You guys are saying, I bet Kai will be in the middle of something for the All-Star game. Valerie says, Kai had better keep his cool. Hakuna says, OMG, I can see Kai getting into the face of Mendoza. Domesticated Hoagie says, it's always Kai. Michael says, maybe it's good Kai didn't play the whole game yesterday. I could see him getting sent off. Yeah, maybe. And maybe Mendoza's like, yeah, I know who you are, Kai Wagner. You're a hothead. You're always saying something to the referees. I'm going to send you off in this All-Star game. Even though it doesn't matter, I'm going to make it about me, because I always make it about me. But thank you guys, as always, for checking out the podcast, interacting me in the comment sections. You guys are the best part of the show. And so we will see you guys next Sunday for the match recap episode between Philadelphia Union and Colorado Rapids. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe we'll have a new intro by then. We'll see how that goes. But until then, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.